Hello, welcome back. Welcome back to another video of my channel. I'm Kishal. I hope you all are doing well. First of all, I'm sorry. For last 2 months, I was not able to upload too many videos. As I can see, I have only uploaded 3 videos for last 2 months. One was a vlog that I have visited the summer school. One was a podcast with Saurabh that I uploaded on 3rd August. And on 30th June, I have uploaded placement statistics about the IT partners. These are the 3 videos I uploaded for last 2 months because I was very busy with my thesis. So I'm planning to submit my thesis. So that's a lot of work was going on to close my thesis. So that was one reason. And also, I was traveling the summer school. So there a couple of weeks has gone. Then there was a couple of submissions, rebuttal was going on. So I was really busy. So that's why I was not able to prepare video and upload to you. But now I'm back. All my work is done. And from now again, I'll be uploading videos regularly. Now coming back to this video. So a couple of weeks back, I have asked in my community channel that if you are a PhD aspirant and if you have a lot of question about, how PhD is, what are the things that goes on in the PhD. So please ask me those questions. Those frequently asked questions I have jotted down. So many of you actually asked me the question and I have, kind of collect them together and prepare set of 10 to 12 questions which I'll be answering in this particular video. So if you are someone who is an aspiring PhD student and who is planning to do PhDs, especially from India, or maybe you are planning to go to USA also. So there are a few questions regarding PhD in India versus PhD in USA also. So this video is for you. So if you want to know detail about it, please stay tuned this video till end because in this video, I think whatever questions I'll be discussing, that is kind of the set cover. I mean, all the questions will be covered and all the doubts of you that you have as a aspiring PhD candidate that will be covered. So that is the content of this video. But before starting the video, as we always say, if you are new to this channel, please subscribe my channel and hit the bell icon so that you get all the notifications regularly. And if you have liked this video, don't forget to hit the like button and share this video with other people. Without further delay, let's get started into today's video. Now, the first question is integrated or direct PhD after B.Tech versus PhD after M.Tech, pros and cons, and differences in coursework, time, and opportunities. So regarding this topic, there is a separate video in my channel that what are the pros and cons of direct PhD after B.Tech. But if you have to answer in brief, I would say the pros is the advantage of doing direct PhD after B.Tech is that the time for M.Tech will be saved. I personally feel that if your final goal is to go for PhD after B.Tech, then M.Tech is a waste of time. Basically, M.Tech teaches you that it's kind of a bridge between B.Tech and PhD, where kind of advanced level courses is being taught. You'll be created a lot of advanced level courses, and a research project you'll be doing as a part of your M.Tech thesis. But those things are useless because in PhD anyway you'll be creating those courses, and in the whole PhD you'll be doing a lot of research. So that's why if your final goal is to do PhD, then M.Tech is a waste of time. So that's why if you're someone who is sure that after B.Tech, anyway your target is to go for PhD, then the advantage is that you don't have to do the M.Tech and those 2 years will be saved. But the disadvantage is that if you directly, get into PhD after your B.Tech, then you might need a bit of more time to start your research work. First of all, because you are coming from B.Tech, so you don't have any prior experience of doing research. So you have to understand how research goes on, how to read paper, how to find out problem statement, how to approach the problem. So those things you'll be learning slowly because you're coming from B.Tech to PhD. M.Tech actually teaches these things. So if you are coming through M.Tech, then you will get a flavor of that how to do research, how to read research paper, how to find out a problem statement. Because in the final year of a M.Tech project, you'll be doing a project where you'll be kind of learning these things. So that's why if you're coming directly from B.Tech to PhD, your first couple of years maybe you will have a slow start. The first couple of years, yeah, you will need to find out how to approach a particular problem statement and all these things. And second thing is in terms of coursework also, if you're coming from M.Tech, then your coursework criteria will be a bit lesser. Like for I can tell about IISc and IIT Kharagpur that if you're coming after M.Tech, maybe 3 to 4 subjects you have to credit. But if you're coming from directly B.Tech, then maybe 6 to 8 courses you have to credit, and that will take time. 6 to 8 courses probably will take, so, 2 to 3, even 4 semesters. So then time will be needed. But overall, I think in terms of time, you'll be saving 1 year, because I personally feel on average, if you're coming from B.Tech then PhD, then your PhD will take on average 6 years, because you'll have a slow start. But if you're coming from M.Tech then PhD, then M.Tech will take 2 years, and on average PhD takes 5 years. So you'll have 7 years of duration. So that if you directly come from B.Tech to PhD, you can save up to 1 year. Now, in terms of opportunities, I will say both are same. After PhD, whatever opportunity you get, that is independent of whether you are coming directly from B.Tech or whether you're coming after M.Tech. So in terms of opportunities, those are same. You're doing an M.Tech will not add anything. But yeah, I mean, in terms of time, probably you will save some time. But yeah, I mean, if you're coming directly after B.Tech to PhD, then you will have a slow start. And maybe you have to mentally prepare for that. Maybe your first paper will come a bit late, but that is fine. That's something you have to expect for. So these are the differences that briefly I have to mention. But there is a detailed video on my channel. The link will be in the description. You can go and refer to it. The next question is PhD admission through regular route versus project route, which is better? Now, whoever is not familiar with these things, first let me discuss about what is a PhD admission through regular route and what is a PhD admission through project route. So basically, regular route means a regular PhD admission, that is the regular, the PhD admission that happen in any Indian institutions like IITs and NITs, where you will be given scholarship by Ministry of Education or MHRD. The fellowship that will be getting monthly, that will be given by government. So this is the regular scholars or institute scholar, they call it in the institute. On the other hand, there is another way to do PhD, that is called project PhD. In project PhD, you will be funded by a project of your supervisor. So these professors in different IITs and ISC or NITs, they have a lot of projects. Those are research projects. So you can join as a PhD candidate and you'll be tagged with any of these projects. That means you will be doing your work related to those projects only, and the scholarship and fellowship you'll be getting from that will be funded by these projects. So these are the actual differences, that institute fellowship get funded by, or the scholarship by the government of India. On the other hand, project fellows used to get the money or funding or scholarship, whatever you say, from the project money of a particular project that is associated with your supervisor. Now, in terms of degree, PhD degree, there is no difference. Whenever you'll be graduating, the degree that you'll be getting, there will be no mention about it that whether you are an institute fellow or a project fellow. But having said that, there are some pros and cons. Particularly in terms of project PhD, sometimes it has been seen that compared to regular fellowship, the project fellowship is much more, because in project there are a lot of money, and if supervisor feels that you are a very strong candidate, he or she can give you more money. Typical, regular fellowship is 37,000 rupees as a GRF and 42,000 rupees as SRF. On the other hand, I have seen there are many project fellows who starts with 45,000 and goes up to 60,000 rupees per month. So in terms of money, if your supervisor project is really strong, there are a lot of money is there, and if you can convince your supervisor that you are a valuable candidate, then probably it's up to them though, but they can give you a lot of money. But there is a disadvantage also, because your funding will be dependent on the project. So if the project is gone, and if your supervisor doesn't have any other project where from where he or she can fund you, then probably you will be in trouble. Your fellowship will be stopped. And also one more thing is that in project fellowship, in project PhD, most likely you have to do work related to that project only. So you can't explore whatever you want. So you are tagged with the project. So that's why you have to do the work of that particular project. On the other hand, in institute fellowship, you can explore as much you can want, or maybe you can work in a project also. So that's up to you, because your funding is not related to with the project. You're getting money from the government, and you can choose whatever you want. You can do a work related to the project also. You can do a work as you wish also. So these are the pros and cons. So there is no better as such. Both the PhD degree are considered as a doctorate degree, and there will be no mention about whether it's an institute scholar, you are an institute PhD or a project PhD in your final degree certificate. Next question is about sponsors PhD, what it is and how to apply. Again, related to sponsored PhD, there is a detailed video in my channel where I have discussed the exact procedure, what is the exact procedure to apply for sponsors PhD. But yeah, in short, if you have to say, sponsored PhD is something that means you'll be working in some company. The company will sponsor your PhD, and you will be working as a part-time PhD in some institution. So that means you'll be working in the company also, and part-time you will be doing your PhD in some Indian institution under some supervisor. Now the the how to apply or what is the admission process is, first of all you have to find out a supervisor who is willing to take a sponsored PhD candidate. Why I am saying this? Because all the professors are not willing to take a sponsored candidate, because it's quite natural that you will not be working as a full-time research scholar, probably you'll be working as a part-time research scholar. So that's why your availability will not be 100%. So that's why there are many professors who are not willing to take part-time PhD student or sponsored PhD student. So you have to first find out a professor who is willing to take you as a sponsored PhD student. So you have to mail the professors, you have to ask them whether they are willing to take or not. Next is you have to take an approval from your company. That means your manager or higher authority, whoever is there in the company, you have to take an approval. And also there should be a provision in your company that they are allowing you for a sponsored PhD candidate. So that is thing one. And then you have to apply, and there will be a bond between you with your company and the institution. And from institute to institute, this bond definition is changing. So basically that means that your institute will fund you till the end of your PhD tenure, and you will not be leaving the company. So this kind of bonds is there, though this differs from IITs to IITs. So these are typically the process to apply and process for admission for sponsor candidate. Obviously there will be an interview process that you have to go through, but those interviews are not that tough because you are funding yourself. So government is not responsible for your funding. There will be no project. So it's self-sponsored PhD. So that's why the acceptance rate is quite high in this particular case. So again, I'm saying related to this particular topic, there is a dedicated video in my channel. The link I'll be given again in the description. You can go and check it out. Next question is related to scholarships and funding for PhD in India. So there are many scholarship for funding that is available for PhD students in India. The most common and the regular fellowship is that is given by Ministry of Education, by Government of India. That is the regular MHRD scholarship, where we'll be getting 37,000 rupees in the first 2 years as junior research fellow or GRF, and 42,000 rupees as senior research fellow or SRF. Now, the most common one after this one is Prime Minister Research Fellowship or PMRF, which is currently on hold. That we are the previous PMRF fellow. So the fellowship that is to get is first 2 years 70,000, third year we get 75,000, and fourth and fifth year. So if you are a direct candidate, you will get for 5 years. If you are a candidate after M.Tech, you will get for 4 years. So in fourth or fifth year, you'll be getting 80,000 rupees per month. Apart from this, for computer science students, there are TCS fellowship, there are Google fellowship, which amount is kind of similar, like 70 to 80,000 rupees. This is the range. And apart from that, if you are a project fellow, as I already mentioned, that then you will get funding from your project, and it depends on your supervisor how much money he or she is willing to spend for you for your scholarship. And apart from that, every institution has its own fellowship. They have its own funding. So those fellowships also that is there, that also you can apply and you can get it. The next question is really important question. The question is how to choose a good guide, how to find the supervisor's working style, and whether they are cooperative or not. Is it okay to contact their current student for feedback? Now it has two parts. How to find a good guide whose working style is aligning with your research direction, and on the other hand, how to find whether a guide is cooperative or not, and whether to ask his or her current student to know that whether the guide is cooperative or not. Now let's talk about the first part, how to find a guide who will be good for your research. So here you have to look for three things. First is you have to look for the research alignment of that particular professor with your research direction. So for example, you are interested in some research area, then you have to find out those professors who are working in the same area or same domain. So this is called research alignment. The next is you have to check for the publication and projects under that particular supervisor. You can go and check their particular website or Google Scholar page, and you can see that what are the projects he or she is working on, and what are the different places he has publication. That means whether he is publishing in top menus like top conferences or top journal, This is one indication that whether that particular professor is very actively publishing in the good venues. But yeah, here one thing you have to notice that suppose one professor has a lot of good paper in some good journal or good conferences, but you have to find out or you have to notice one thing that whether that particular those papers are with many students or with a many particular student. It might have happened that that professor has a very good student, and with that particular student he has a lot of paper in good venues. But with other students, he or she doesn't have that much paper. That means then the credit is that particular student, not that particular guide or supervisor. So this is one thing also you have to look, that if he or she has good publication, whether it is distributed among all the PhD students or it is centralized to few students. So that means those students are good. That's why the publication is good for the particular professor in different venue. So this is one thing that you have to check for. And the third thing that you have to check for is the status of the past student. That means whichever student has done their PhD under that particular professor with the particular professor, where they are placed. Are they placed in good positions in industry or good academia, like in IITs and IISc, they have become professor or not? So this is one thing that you have to look for. This actually guarantees you about your, what will happen after your PhD. If that particular professor's students are placed in good companies, or if they have been appointed in different IITs or ISC or NIT as a professor, assistant professor, then that means that that professor has an influence, and that might help you after your PhD. So these are the things that you have to look for when you are looking for a guide for your PhD. Now coming to whether that particular guide is good or not, how cooperative he is. Definitely, you can ask his or her students about it. But there are few things that you have to ask for. First is how often the guide meet with the student. So this is one thing is very important. How often guide meets the student, how often the meeting happens. That is very, very important, because if the guide is not meeting with the students, then your PhD life will not be that easy. There has to be a regular meeting with your supervisor and you, so that the progress is being tracked, and there is a discussion happen with your supervisor and you, and that will be helpful for you. The next question is whether the professor supports new ideas. So for example, you have come up with a new ideas, but the professor is not ready to agree upon the idea, and he or she has some particular bias on a particular idea, and he or she wants you to pursue in that direction. Probably that will not be that good for you, because in PhD you want to explore new ideas, you want to think about it, and you want to explore as much as possible. So that's why whether the professor supports a new idea or not, that is also important to ask. Next is how professor handle publication deadlines and stress, and also how students handle the publication stress and deadline. So how this has been typically handled inside the group of the labs and all. So this is one thing that obviously you can ask. That will give you about the culture of the lab, and how professor gives times during the paper submission, and when the deadline is coming on. So those ideas will be getting. And finally, how the lab environment is, whether it's a collaborative, whether people talk among themselves, whether they collaborate among themselves. So this will also give you an idea about that how the environment is. It sometimes happens the lab environment is not that good, it's toxic, then that will not be helpful for you. So that's why how a lab environment is, so that you can ask. Having said that, I will say one thing, that most of the time students will not talk frankly the detail about the lab, because if the environment is negative, if the professor is negative, uh, but most of the time they will not talk the negative side of their supervisor, because everybody wants the supervisor to be happy. But still, it's better to ask many of them who is part of the lab, so that if some hint about the toxicity or the negative side of the supervisor you get, then you can think about it, and you can probably maybe you can decide not to join this lab, because it's very important that you find the right guide. That will help a lot. Maybe I can make a separate video on this topic, but finding the right guide and supportive guide is very, very important, because that makes your life a lot of easier. Next question is also related to guide selection. New versus established professor as guide, which to prefer? So related to this topic also, there is a video in my channel, though the views is very less. Probably it hasn't reached to many people, but link again I'll be giving in the description. But yeah, in short, if I have to say, both have its pros and cons. If you're choosing a new professor, that professor maybe he has just come up with his or her postdoc and he or she just have joined the institutions, then he or she will be very energetic. They will push you to publish quickly, and they will give you a lot of time, and they will have a lot of new idea because they have just come up with their PhD life or postdoc life, so they have a thorough understanding about the literature and what the new problems are. So from this point of view, from guidance point of view, we will be having a lot of advantage. Like, they will give you a lot of time to think about, maybe they can formulate problem also for you, they can help you in coding, hands-on experiment, they can help you. But the disadvantage is, you will not have a well-established group because they are new. So they'll be forming their research group. The lab will not be that much well settled. Sometimes funding issue also will be there because it's a new professor, so probably he or she doesn't have that much funding, and also their network, their lab facility will be new. I mean, this new professor probably will be knowing very few people in the industry, very few people in outside. So collaboration, maybe you will find a bit difficulty. So these sort of problems will be there. On the other hand, if you're going for a old or reputed professors, then you will have a strong research group because that professor already built up a strong research group. There will be no issue about funding because there are a lot of project is going on under the professor for a long time. So funding will be there. You will have many seniors in your lab who can help you. The professor is reputed, so his network is good. You will find a lot of collaboration in industry and academia. But the disadvantage with the reputed professor is they are typically very, very busy. They are not only focusing on the research, they have a lot of administrative work also has to be done by them because they mostly hold some reputed position in the institution. So that's why they have a lot of things to do apart from doing research. Like, they have a lot of talks to do. They have a lot of administrative responsibilities that they carry out every day. So their bandwidth for you will be very, very less. That means you will not get that much time one-to-one discussion with those professors. Maybe bi-weekly or may happen once in a month, you will have a one-to-one discussion with the professor. So that professor will not be able to track your research directly. So most of the time you have to work with your peer researchers in the lab or maybe with the collaborator. So direct involvement with the professors will be less in the case of reputed professors. So now, it depends on you, depends on your priorities, whether you will choose a professor who will be, engaging with you directly, but maybe, the reputation and all will be less. Then you'll be going for the new professor. On the other hand, if you're looking for stability, you'll get all the fundings and resources. There will be no problem. You can manage your research by your own. Then you should go for the reputed professors. Next question is one of the most frequently asked question by any PhD aspirants. That is, what is the time that is taken to complete PhD in India? Now, PhD is not a time-bound program. Like M.Tech is typically 2 years program, B.Tech is typically 4 years program, but PhD is not a time-bound program. There is no upper bound that how much time it will take to complete PhD. It depends upon your supervisor. When he or she feels that you have done sufficient amount of research as a part of your PhD tenure, then he or she will, give you the PhD degree. So it's up to your supervisor that when they will feel that the work that you have done in PhD is sufficient for the degree. Institute has a very, every institute has a very loose criteria, like 1 or 2 papers, maybe, one paper accepted, one paper submitted. So these kind of rules criteria they have. But at the end, it's written that is up to supervisor. So that means at the end, it's all up to your supervisor and their requirement that how much work you have to do as a part of your PhD. I can say from, what I have seen in the machine learning field at least, that typically the reputed professors, they ask for 3 A-star paper. That means 3 paper that is published in A-star conferences. That is a minimum criteria for getting a PhD. Now, if I have to say on average how much time it takes, on average it takes 5 years. So that is a typical kind of concept that 5 years it takes to complete PhD. But I have seen people that who are very hardworking, who have done really great in publishing paper quickly, at least in the field of machine learning. There are people who are completing PhD within 4 years. Even I've seen people completing PhD within 3.5 years. But again, I'm saying that's up to on how they have convinced their supervisor about the work they have done. Maybe they have published enough amount of papers in good venues within 3.5 years. So that's why they have been given the PhD degree. At the other hand, I have seen people completing their PhD in 6 years, 7 years, 8 years. I've seen even 10 years case also in ISC. So, time varies. It's up to your supervisor. So that's why I suggest you that when you're joining a particular supervisor's lab, make a clear discussion that what is that professor's requirement to give you the PhD degree, because that will depend a lot of things. That will actually define that how long it will take to complete your PhD. So this is kind of the time that on average it takes 5 years, but there are a lot of people who is completing before that. A lot of people, it's kind of exceeding till 6 years, 7 years, even 10 years. The question is PhD in India versus PhD in USA. Frankly speaking, I have done my PhD from India. I'm currently doing my PhD from India, and I'm not much familiar with the culture of USA. But I have seen their work because I have read the paper by USA, and I have been in different conferences where I've talked with people who are doing PhD in USA. So from where I came to know, you see, overall, if you take any field, for example, in my field, machine learning AI, USA is far ahead. On average, if you look that USA universities, the top US universities are kind of far ahead in doing research, in terms of publishing paper, in terms of impact, in terms of quality of research than top universities in India. But having said that, I will say that you have to look these things in terms of the sub area or a particular subdomain of the whole research. For example, if I take theoretical computer science, for example, the work IISc is doing, IISc Bangalore is doing, that's kind of on par of the top US universities, because theory in IISc is really, really good. At the same time, system of IISc is also really, really good. So, if you look at the minute detail and micro level, then probably you will see there are few labs in India who are doing world-class research at the level of US universities. Because if you consider US universities overall, then maybe they are good, but it's not like that all US universities are better than Indian IITs and ISC. So maybe if you go beyond top 20 or 30 universities, then there are some universities which is not that great compared to the good IITs like IIT Bombay or IISc Bangalore or maybe IIT Kharagpur, who are good in machine learning research. So that's why it's tough to actually compare. You have to choose a particular area or direction, and then maybe you can compare. Overall, obviously, I PhD in USA is, or research in USA is far better than research in India. So there is no debate on that. But there are few reputed labs in India who are doing great research. At least in recent times in AI machine learning, because I was visiting ICLR last year, and there are, I think, 20 plus paper in ICLR from Indian academia, which is a great thing, because this is the first time, India is having 20 plus ICLR paper. So things are kind of getting changed, especially in NLP domain. India has a good footmark in world map. So I think USA has 10% ACL paper. India has 5%. That is very close, though China has a bit more. But India and USA is kind of comparable position somehow. So, things are getting changed. I'm not saying that all IITs are kind of not that good compared to all US universities. So there are few labs which is doing great research in India as well. But yeah, I mean, if you are getting the best colleges in USA, obviously doing PhD from there will be beneficial in terms of opportunities and learning as well. And the last question is, what is the roadmap for getting a PhD in top colleges abroad? This is also one question that typically a lot of people used to ask me, who are planning to do their PhD from top US universities or top Euro universities. Now again, I have tried when I was looking for admission in PhD in some US universities, but that time COVID was there, so I was not able to get into it. But again, what I've understood from that process, or maybe after that talking with different people is that it's not that straightforward. It's not that easy because in nowadays there are a lot of competition, especially in the field of AI machine learning. There are a lot of competitions to get into a PhD position in top USA or Europe universities. So what you should ensure is that whenever you are doing B.Tech or M.Tech, try to maintain a very good CGPA because CGPA matters. CGPA will actually help you in the initial screening that you are a good student. The second important thing is your publication. So try to have some publication during your B.Tech and M.Tech days. And if possible, try to get publication into top venues like top machine learning venues or top NLP venues or top computer vision venues. So that is very important that you are having good publication record. And if you are having some good amount of papers, that actually shows that you have a prior research experience. Next is a letter of recommendation. So try to work with many people, many reputed people if possible, so that you will get more than one letter of recommendation from there, and that will actually help you. So these three things, you have to prepare during your B.Tech and M.Tech. So that is the roadmap. When you are in your third year or fourth year of B.Tech, or maybe when you're joining M.Tech. So keep this into mind that at the end of your M.Tech, when you will be applying for PhD in US universities, your CV has to be strong. You should have a good CGPA, you should have good amount of paper, and you should have a strong recommendation letter from some reputed person. It might be some person from academia, it might be some person from industry also. So to get into industry, to get industry recommendation letter, try to do some research intensive in some research labs. So these sort of things you have to do. Then only you are in a position that you can submit a good amount of document to in the admission portal for those top colleges, and then your chance will be more to get admission into the top colleges. So this is kind of overall thing that I can share what I came to know from different interaction with people who are doing their PhD from foreign universities. So yeah, that's it guys. That's it about the video. I hope I'm able to answer all of your questions. And this is kind of the set of questions that I typically encounter about research life in India and USA from the research experience. And I hope in this video I have tried to cover all these questions thanks to you, because you people have asked me these questions. So if you have any query, any further question, let me know in the comment section. I'll try to answer them there. And if you want any particular topic for a detailed video, that also you can let me know. I'll try to make on that particular topic a separate video. So yeah, that's it about the video. If you have liked this video, don't forget to hit the like button and share this video with other people. And if you are new to this channel, again, I'm requesting you, please subscribe the channel and hit the bell icon so that you get all the notifications regularly. That's it about the video. I'll be meeting this video. Until then.